So as planned yesterday, I will start with the first session in JavaScript in the morning. I'm giving you afternoon time to complete the pending sprints of HTML. And also there will be one JavaScript sprint today. It's a simple sprint. You can able to crack near of programming. So we will have it in the afternoon. Will it be okay? And so that now you can complete both HTML, CSS sprints, and this entire week and weekend we can focus on JavaScript. Okay. Let's start. Yeah, we have 8 sprints in JavaScript. Let's begin with the first one. Fine, guys. So in front-end program, we started with responsive web page using HTML and CSS. Moving on to the next course, interactive web application using JavaScript. So the name depreciates, we are going to make an interactive. By using HTML elements, we can make a structure of a web page, a static web page. By using CSS, you can have a very good appealing, presentable web page. You can position all your controls, but on top of it, interactive, the dynamic feature of a web page can be achieved with the help of JavaScript. As I said, there were 8 sprints. So I'll tell you, if you are into these types of scripting language for the first time, you will feel little bit difficult in the face and a vague kind of a thing, but please overcome that. So the world is ruling. I don't know if you look into a statistical search, the top 10 languages in application development. If you find those top 10 popular languages in the last 2 decades, even in the last decade, the top 5, one of the language among top 5 is JavaScript. So it is popular. Based on JavaScript, we have many scripting languages. So after JavaScript, we got TypeScript, React, many more, ECMAScript, earlier VBScript. Scripting languages are ruling, and it is among top 5. That's what I'm telling. So don't feel anything like vague or bit difficult, bored. So make whatever the thing is in front of you, please make it more, you make an interest among yourself and start learning things. All right, so let's get into JavaScript. So again, I'm telling you, so JavaScript is most popular languages. Always it is among top 5, even it is not among top 10. So again, when you want your career to be on application development, it plays a very important role. So please listen. Okay, so before getting into what is JavaScript, why we want to have JavaScript, let's have why we need such type dynamic applications. So it's time to think, list down some of the website you visit on a daily basis. I created one folder, JavaScript demos. July 5 notes. Okay. So list down some websites which you are using on daily basis. I'm asking you.
YouTube. Email, Google, YouTube.
Not much. Let it be, and many more. Many more are there everyday basis. Categorize a website as interactive and non-interactive. By the way, what do you mean by the word interactive and non-interactive? So again, when it comes to web application, lots of theory factors are there. So one theory factor is it follows client server architecture. And that too, if I want to say nowadays, we are not into one tier or two tier. If the words are new to you, afternoon or after some time around 11:30, I'll give you time, explore on it. So nowadays, we are not into even three tier, we are into entire architecture. And we have various layers. So we have presentation layer, we have a business layer, we have data access layer, and separate thing, we are into database server too. Apart from application server, we are into database server and we are handling database. And what else? The other thing is static website. And the other category is dynamic web application. So day to day, when I am using the term, I may say website, web application, web pages. So, you know, collection of web pages is your website. But when it comes to minute difference between website and web application. So websites always, we can say, I can say google.com as a website, google.com as a web application. But once if you are into development phase of this application, so always your static content, which does not have, once it retrieves from the server, does not have interaction with server, falls under anyway, which we are fetching from server. Once it is fetched from server and it placed on a client, from client, it will not have any interaction with server. That kind of application is your static website. So always have an interaction with server, falls under the category dynamic web application. So you take everyday basis, we are into various websites, so many official websites of study purpose and many more. I am using IRCTC, Redbus, Make My Trip, many more are there. Tell me whatever the website we are using nowadays comes under the category static, interactive or not interactive application. Think and answer me. IRCTC? Something I heard, but your voice got...
Interactive website, ma'am.
Book my show.
NIT.com.
Everything. That's what I'm telling. Out of that, whatever you said, Make My Trip, Book My Show, IRCTC, Redbus, YouTube, NIT.com, Google.com, everything is which falls under static and which falls under dynamic.
Netflix, dynamic.
Very good. Very good point, Jitesh. And interaction, not interaction, and data flow. So like data we are submitting and the data retrieving. Everything falls under. Okay, I added the point data flow. So guys, you know something, as of now, we are in 2022. Even I said the same points in 2 years back also. As of now, all the application which we are using falls under the category all. I said the word all, even not even 99.9%. All the application which we are dealing falls under the category
Dynamic.
Very good. Dynamic web application. As of now, any forum I can challenge. There is no static website at all. All the application is having an interaction with server. And out of that, some 90% of the application, the data is getting flow. So some data I am submitting to my application, and some application is taking to the server. And yeah, and the same application on other application, the data is retrieved from server and it is passing to the client based on their requirement. That's what I'm telling. And all the application which we are using as of now falls under the category dynamic web application. All the applications are having interaction with server. Everything is having interaction. So categorize a website as interactive and non-interactive. How can you add, even if you can ask me, encyclopedia, this Wikipedia, even there were people who has having a permission to edit that Wikipedia. Am I making it sense? So today you are viewing something in a Wikipedia, even today evening or tomorrow, the content might be changed on the screen, isn't it or not? Even in the Wikipedia content. I will not say Wikipedia as a static. Anything you want to add on it from that? Everything is dynamic. In such situation, as I said, all the applications are interactive application. In such situation, how can you add interactivity to web page? With the tools and techniques we have learned so far. A big question mark. How can we add interactivity? Let it be. I put this question mark. I have not discussed with an answer. Partial answer I will discuss with JavaScript. Remaining answer we will discuss on backend program. Am I making it sense? The answer for the third question. How we are making interactivity to web page? We are making the interactive with the help of JavaScript. Whereas one more way of making the application interactivity is not via front end, the other via back end. Is it fine?
Yes,
How and by which, everything we can discuss. Okay, let's get into a slide. So browsers were meant to view web pages. From the day one, I was the one who introduced HTML. I used to say web applications are built up with web pages, and web pages are constructed with HTML. And HTMLs are used to display the content on your web page. Always we will use HTML to display some content on a web page. On top of it, we will add styling via CSS. So that is what we have done so far. But in the same browser, we are playing a game. Just an example. So always browsers are meant to view web page content. How we are able to play game? Have you ever experienced this? Where?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a game. I can use my up and down arrow mark, enter. So some dynamic content, dynamic interaction is happening on my browser. The same thing is happening on my browser. Can we achieve this with the help of HTML? This dinosaur moving, jumping. When it clash with these things, it should display the message as game over. Do we have any functionality in HTML to achieve this?
No.
No.
Do we have this functionality in CSS?
No.
No.
So this can be achieved with the help of client-side scripting language called as JavaScript. How does the new set of images representing Alan turning appears without the page being refreshed? So within a fraction of a second, from Nikola Tesla to Alan turning image got displayed without even complete refresh of the page. Have you noticed? We started fetching the image of Tesla. After that, Alan. Let it be. So how it is possible to play, pass, forward, and rewind the videos on a YouTube? So the interactive action is happening on YouTube browser. Have you ever thought of this? By using HTML, I can display the content, but on top of it, something is interaction thing happening on my web page. So all those things are happening in my browser side with the help of language called as JavaScript, which falls under the category client-side scripting language. So whatever we discussed, so whenever if I am requesting for any page, so let's assume I am requesting for nit.com. So my client will give you a URL, HTTP request. So which will hit to my server. My server will go to the appropriate web server and start processing. And it will return HTML web page is your HTTP response. So whenever the server is returning back this web page with the HTML language, along with that, it sends few more functionality, few more language code. So whichever the language you can view in your browser side falls under the category client-side scripting. And whenever if you are into browser-based web application, we will be dealing with scripting language. As of now, I am sure you know what is scripting and what is programming language. So whereas web application is constructed with the combination of both client-side scripting and server-side scripting language. All the languages code are there in your web server. But when the request is coming from the client, it starts process and it will send a response. Along with response, it will send few client-side scripting code. So one of the client-side scripting code is HTML. What else? Everything will be reside on my server only. But based on the request of a client, some languages are sent along with the output to my client-side browser itself.
CSS.
So one of the client-side scripting is HTML, CSS. The other one is JavaScript. I'll show you. Everything is there in a server machine, an IT server. Let's assume here it is an IT server. Have you experienced this? Apart from HTML and CSS, can you see what is there on the screen? So
Yes.
you take the first line. So doc type, HTML, directive, everything. Have you noticed in the third line? Not even third line. The first block itself, it started with script. All right. And certain languages will be reside on server itself. Any example of server-side scripting?
Java.
No, I will not take Java as a scripting language. By the way, my dear all, Java is a programming language. Have you ever came across with this term? So I cannot use Java as a server-side scripting language. So the language based on Java, which can be processed in a server, we have JSP, we have servlet. In other language, have you came across with PHP?
Yes, ma'am.
In .NET, we have ASP. These are all called as server-side scripting language. On top of JSP and servlet, we have so many frameworks. So that is what we are going to use after some days, which is so based on this framework, we got servlet is the first framework in Java, which is based on server-side language. So on top of it, we got JSP. On top of it, we got these frameworks. And these frameworks will use Java, not direct Java. So it's totally different. Apart from that, we have, you can ask me Python. Yes, Python, it's a scripting language more than a programming language. And PHP and ASP.NET and many more are there. And by the way, your JavaScript will act like both server side and client side scripting language. Your JavaScript alone will act like both client side and server side. I know these terms are new to you. Slowly you will be getting to all these terms. But as of now, I would like to say, in order to achieve this interactive feature, when the web page is requested by the client, server will process and all the codings will be there in a server. But along with the response, it sends few of the language. So those languages are client-side scripting language itself. So why we want client-side scripting language? Because we have some advantage. So I want all of you to read, not now. That's what I'm telling. After 11:30 or 12, I'll give you time, explore on client-side scripting language. So why I want to want to keep some languages in browser side? Why can't I have everything on my server side? Why can't I have everything on server? So from that itself, you will get to know lots of load we are gonna to give unnecessary to server. And we may end up with network traffic congestion due to various reasons. We have segregating and we are sending few languages to browser side language. So find the advantages of client side scripting.
Ma'am, can you say again what's the role of frameworks?
You're talking about these frameworks?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, dear. We will discuss in detail about after hardly 3 weeks.
Okay.
Because framework, how can I say now? Then we will be getting into these Java frameworks. I just wanted to segregate an idea between client-side scripting and server-side scripting.
I'm asking for just the role of the framework.
Rule is framework.
No, the role.
Simply, since you asked only the role, I thought it's rule. Okay,
No.
role. Let's assume Sudeep, you, me, and Praveen, we are about to develop a web page, or for some 10 of us into a team and we want to develop a web page. If I develop a web application from a scratch, I may need 6 months. If you use any of the framework, you can develop within hardly 3 months. That is the role of framework. It has predefined patterns, all the rules and regulation. Sudeep, can you able to relate? And this is for everyone. Framework will make our life as simpler. The best example is yesterday Bootstrap. Can you relate? Is it makes your work simpler?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this I'm leaving to you. Let's get into JavaScript. Shall I?
Yes,
I know
ma'am.
I have introduced so many terms. Again, when it comes to server, web server, you need to know about all the protocol, IP address, port number, everything. That's what I'm telling. We have a lot of theory to cover in the introduction to web applications. Still more are there. For the next 4 or 5 weeks, we will be into these theories. You should know. So today is all about getting started with JavaScript. Since see the name alone, it is JavaScript. You cannot directly relate Java with JavaScript. No, both are different accessories in different direction. Don't ever compare Java and JavaScript. Few programming rules is applicable for all the language. In that angle, we can relate. But other than that, Java is totally different. JavaScript is totally different. Don't ever think or compare Java with JavaScript. So in this session, we will be discussing about introduction to JavaScript. So it's a language. So we will explore on variables, data types, operators, conditional construct, looping construct, functions, function invocation, and creating a lot of program using JavaScript. So what is JavaScript? So I don't want to explain this diagram. As of now, you can able to relate this picture with respect to HTML, JS, and CSS. So HTML forms only the structure. So CSS makes presentable, more appealing, whereas your JavaScript will add what I can say, interactivity or intelligence. When it comes to application, I can say for my web application.
Sense organs.
So all your flesh, bone, blood falls under the category HTML. So you can relate the outer skin followed with all your things. Apart from that, your sense, how all our body parts works based on the instruction provided by the brain. So that is a mere example of JS, but I would like to give some theory content on JS. So what is JavaScript? So JavaScript is a scripting language. As of now, I want all of you to have a clear, I think I said this, you should know a clear idea on what is scripting language versus what is programming language. So if you are not clear, I will put that topic under self-reading. A tag-based language for browsers, and we have engines to process the language. Those falls under the category scripting language, less error prone. Whereas compiler-based, strict syntactic followed language for application development is your programming language. So explore more on these two topics. All right. Your HTML, JavaScript all falls under the category scripting language that enables us to create dynamically So what do you mean by the term dynamically updating content? So let's assume there is a section in your HTML page. So within a fraction of a second, the content gets changed. Let's assume you are in an Amazon. So let's assume top right corner, the center of the page, you have some advertisement for sale of mobile phone. Within few seconds, the same section or aside, I can relate with semantic. Instead of mobile sale, there may be some other thing. Let's assume watch sale. So dynamically updated content on a web page can be enabled. Some time back, we discussed about game. So in order to control your multimedia, if I want to have any animated images and much more dynamic features can be achieved in my web page with the help of JavaScript. So for sure, JS will add interactivity and intelligence for sure to website. I will not say hereafter web application or to my web page, to a simple web page. So whenever if you are into web technology, along with HTML and CSS, JavaScript is one of the core technology in web application development. Is that clear? Introductory part is clear. Shall we get into programming part of JavaScript? Guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So how it is adding interaction? How can we do some processing? Let's do a basic processing. With first two example itself, let's have some interactivity thing. So JavaScript makes website dynamic, engaging, and appealing. So when I am in Google Sheet, I used to do this. So we are in web page, this Google Sheet. So I will be finding an option of sharing, restricting, giving a privacy setting. So everything. Contents of a page are updated without rendering the entire page. I'm highlighting this point. We will be traveling with this point. Instead of refreshing the entire page, the contents are getting updated. Why we want to go for such type of functionality? What will happen every time when we are refreshing the entire page? Have you ever think about this point, and have you thought and relate with the real world?
Yes, ma'am. When we refresh the page, the dynamic content on the page will change and the static contents will be still the same.
No. Don't ever introduce static. I told you, all the application which we are dealing is dynamic. Think, I want all of you to think and think in all the angle. Contents of the web page are updated without refreshing the entire page. Why we want to have this functionality? What will happen if all the time if I refresh the entire page?
And we will lose server connection every time. Like we have to reconnect with the server.
There will not be satisfied.
Sanjay, repeat.
Whole data is
Sanjay,
transmitted.
Kudus, repeat your point.
Whole data is transmitted every time if you refresh again
Correct.
and again.
Correct. Whole data, let's assume, think. Every day, listen. So every day we are sign into our web page. So do you think a web page is some small content, like some 10 lines of HTML element code is getting represented in my web page? Do you think it's a? See, I'm just scrolling down this application. You have a lot of content. So this content can be developed with a lot of HTML elements. So let's assume I am in sign-in page. So I am providing my username and password. So do you think if I provide my username and password and submit, this entire page needs to be refreshed? Or if I want to switch from the welcome page to any of the course page, do you think the entire page needs to be refreshed? So what will happen all the time when the entire page gets refreshed? All the time, as Kuddu said, it needs to retrieve the content from server. Do you think I am the only one using NIT.com? I am the one who is using Amazon.com? No, there will be thousands and thousands, not even in thousands. Let's take NIT maybe in 1,000. Let's take Google, Gmail, or Amazon or Instagram. Like millions of users are using the application. Every time when the content are refreshed and all the contents are retrieved from the server, think about the load of the server. Performance, fraction of second matters in pulling the data content. So let's assume I want to process this particular portion. So something I want to do with here, I want to check this join this course. If I give join this course, do I want to change all the content? No. As per the user requirement, this particular component alone here alone, when you click this join this course, this particular alone needs to retrieve back the response instead of loading the entire page content. That matters in today's web application development. That can be achieved with the help of scripting languages like JavaScript. I said in theory, the same thing we will implement in near future. Think about it. Who executes JavaScript? JavaScript is for browser. It is for web application. Web application, web pages are in the browser. So by default, all the browsers are enabled with JavaScript. So JavaScript can be executed in browsers runtime or in Node's runtime environment. This Node we will come in the next module for TypeScript in Angular. So as of now, our browser runtime in environment is well and good for us. So JavaScript engines embedded with browser. As I told, all the browsers. Anyway, JavaScript is from Netscape, a navigator, but nowadays all the modern browsers are enabled with JavaScript. And in order to process JavaScript, we have a JavaScript engine. So all the browser is having this JavaScript engine. Yeah, please look into this. For Google Chrome, we have V8. So for Mozilla, we have SpiderMonkey. For Internet Explorer, we have Chakra. For Safari, we have JS Code. So all the browsers which we are using will come along with JavaScript engine. So this engine will process our JavaScript coding. Can you able to relate how we have compiler for programming language? Likewise, for scripting language, we have engines. And for JavaScript, these engines are attached with your browser itself by default. You no need to download and install externally. And for all the browsers, we have the respective engine names. By default, it is enabled. Just aware of these names. Is that clear? Shall we go next? Guys, Harsh, Harshat,
Yes, ma'am.
Jayashree.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So what an in-browser JavaScript can do? So whatever I said in the previous slide. So by default, the browsers are embedded with this engine. So what it does? In browser, JavaScript can, listen carefully, it can add new HTML. It can change the content. The dynamism can be achieved. Modify the style to a web page. So sometimes if you noticed, the background color of my web page will be changing. The font style, mostly the color or background image will be changing whenever if you are making any interaction in your web page. So this JavaScript, with the help of in-browser JavaScript, I can add new HTML. What do you mean by add new HTML? Think and answer me.
Ma'am, add new structure to the web page, existing web page.
No, dear. Okay, I'll give you a hint. Add new HTML element.
Ma'am, reference to new HTML page.
So let's assume you are into one registration page. I know you have experienced this, but relate. So let's assume you are into registration page. So let's assume by default, all the user provides one mobile number. So let's assume there will be a mobile number label and there will be a text box. Sometimes if the user is having two numbers and the user wants to add one more mobile number, so you will be finding an option to add. When you click that add, let's assume home number or add mobile number. When you click this button, there will be one another text box which will come and you can add your mobile number. And the same is applicable for when you are in Naukri or Monster, any of the job portal. whatever the technologies you aware. So based on that, there will be an option to add. And what example I can say? In Google Map, yeah, let's take Google Map. 1 second. Wait. Guys, please pay attention. I want to travel to some university. Have you ever experienced this? When I am in a web page, you will find a button. Can you see? Please look into this collapse box. The left hand side, you will find something called as add destination. What will happen if I click add destination?
New stop is added.
New text box is getting added. So this type of feature, have you experienced this, and can you share an example where no, by default a web page is loaded with few the page. When it is required, it will add a new HTML element like text box, radio button, option to upload the file. So one is in
job portal.
Which one?
In job portal.
In job portal, exactly. Let's assume you want to update your technical proficiency, all those things which you want to
Add education.
Any skills, add skills.
I have loaded with my HTML page. In that HTML page, I want to add new HTML element, like probably this text box, checkbox, radio button, or some text area where I want to add more content. And dynamically, I want to change the content, modify styles. As I said, background image, background color, everything is happening. This change is happening on a screen with the help of what? All these are happening with the help of, by default, it is happening in your browser. Why? Because I have an embedded JavaScript in my web browser, so that now all these dynamic features are added on my web page by default. Are we doing any special functionality? No, these are all happening because of my embedded JavaScript engine in my browser. All right, and take the second example. I am sending the request over the network to remote server. I am downloading the file and uploading the file in a web browser. Are we doing it everyday basis? When I click download, automatically it is getting downloaded on my page. That is a dynamic feature. So that is happening with the help of embedded JavaScript. So react to user action, mouse click, pointer movement, key press, mouse hover. All these mouse events are happening on my web browser. All these are by default is happening in my web page on my web browser because of this JavaScript enabled feature. Without JavaScript, none of the dynamic activity can be performed on your browser. Is that clear?
Yes.
Please look into the topic. in browser JavaScript is doing all these activity and we are experiencing all these. What it can do, what it cannot, do's and don'ts of your JavaScript browser. It cannot read, write arbitrary file on a hard disk and copy them and execute a program. So what we are doing in Java, file reading and writing, I can't do that with JavaScript. Is that clear? Please look into the topic. What and all it cannot do. It can easily communicate over the net server where the current page came from, but receiving the data from other sites or domains is scriptlet. So whatever that is happening from the server, from the current domain location, it can, but communicating with the other site, it's a lot of task involved. Different tabs, Windows generally does not know each other, may not have access if they are coming from different site. So communication from one site to another site is not possible with the help of JavaScript. These two topics are, can you able to relate this? That's all. What in-browser JavaScript does and it cannot. So let's start with programming. I'm sure once if I start with programming, you can relate so many things with Java over here, as we all know fundamentals and more you have knowledge on programming. Yes, Vaibhav, I'm making you co-host. You can join in room 1.
Yeah, Sangeeta, I was there, but the host permission was not
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So that's
I
why. Sorry to disturb you in between.
No worries. You carry on.
Yeah.
So let's get into JavaScript. So, okay, let's start with displaying a text hello world in an alert box on a browser. So there is no defined rule to write where to write JavaScript. You can write a JavaScript, all the code inside script tag. You can write inside body, you can write inside head tag, and okay, and whether you want to write it on your HTML or you can use a reserve console screen, everything you can do. I will show you all different ways of accessing your information on your browser with the help of JavaScript. All right. Display the text hello world in an alert box on a browser. So guys, your JavaScript, you need to write all the JavaScript coding inside script tag, point number 1. And we have flexibility. We can write a JavaScript inside body as well as in head. But where you are calling, that matters. Okay, let me start with simple hello world demo. Then no, we will call also later. So we have so many boxes. One of the boxes which we will use in JavaScript is alert box. We will get that small dialog box on the screen. So, and the function name is alert is a predefined function. And one more point I want to say is JavaScript also function based language. We can have user defined function. Also, we can use all the predefined function. One of the built-in function in JavaScript is alert. Alert, you can use single quotes, you can use double quotes. Welcome all. Yeah, you can use semicolon to indicate end of the line. Okay, I'll show you this demo. So when I execute this, when I load this page, the first thing happens in my body is I will be getting an alert box, and the message in the alert box is welcome all. Via JavaScript, if I want to write something on my browser, so I can use a method document.write. So what is the difference between alert box and document.write? So anything if I want to display on a browser, so I want to append the content on my HTML web page. For that, can you see in my web page, I got this message from JavaScript. So with the help of document.write. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
one is
Yes,
alert
ma'am.
box. You will get that small dialog box on my HTML body. If I want to write something, the content, I can use document.write. But I'll introduce the third thing, which is web console. It's always advisable to use this console. So in a browser, when we are in web application, web browser, so we have a powerful tool called as console tool. So if I want to display some information about what is happening on my page, log information. Have you come across with log file, log information? All, when the request arised, when the response came, what was the port number, what was the IP address, all the basic information, and the time, date and time, and the encryption, everything related the logging information of my web page, and especially this JavaScript, all the processing happening in JavaScript, errors, warning, whatever the JavaScript functionality I'm using. Let's assume I am using loop, I am using array, I am using object, all I'm using the functionality of JavaScript. Everything I can view in my web console. So you can go to developer tool. Either you can go to more tool, developer tool, or right click inspect. I'm sure the screen is familiar to you all. Apart from that, you will find top right corner console environment. Can you see? So throughout this chapter, throughout this course, we will be using with this web console. Guys, I need 1 minute. Yes, guys, sorry. Okay, let me write something on. So throughout this course, we will be using this JavaScript console object. So whatever, so that my browser will debug the code content which I provided with my JavaScript language and displays the corresponding output on my console screen. I want you to experience this console. So we have console log. We have See here, console clear, console count, console error. Some error message if I want to display. One second. Sorry. I use less than 10 plus plus. We have console count used to, it will count how many number of times this loop got executed. And console table. This curly braces indicates collection, object, key value pair. Let's assume red colon red. B colon black. So console.table, which will represent the data in the form of table, and table will take object. Object will hold the value in the form of key value pair. I know I have handled so many console method, but on seeing this, I'm sure you people are familiar with Java code, so you can relate the code. Only thing is minute change in variable declaration. And this object will handle a value in the form of key value pair. Let me show you. Many more are there, you experience this. So console message, we will not use others often. Error message in the type of this red color cross symbol, and warning and counting the number of times the loop gets executed. Have you noticed this table, guys? In the form of index value, key value pair. Guys, are you with me? Just a hello message using console in various, by calling various console methods.
Ma'am, can you show that loop part?
I will show you. See, we will go to conditional construct, if else, loops. I'll show you. And whatever we handled at the last is object type. So I have object black, green, red, all the three holding the index key. JavaScript supports arrays. It supports object type. Of course, it supports oops functionality. So more on these loops and conditional construct, we will get into programming. Document.write is used to display the message on your HTML page content, but we will use this debugging functionality of browser with JavaScript can be done with the help of your console. Hello world in JavaScript. So if you are, you can use it inside HTML body, but ensure that your JavaScript should be enclosed within script tags, script open and script close. We will come to loops. Let's start with variable. Variable is a name, storage of data. So I want to handle a data. So if I want to refer the data, from the memory location where it got stored, I want to use a name. The name which we will use to refer the data is a variable. Guys, starting from variable, we will have a change. You can have a slight comparison between Java and JavaScript, but many more changes are there. In order to declare a variable, we will use var and let. I will declare a variable in JavaScript either by using var and let. You may ask the difference. We will be discussing the difference. How we will use it in Java? How we will int number equal to 10.
Data type.
Yeah, char ch is equal to some character. But whereas if you take JavaScript, I will be using where number is equal to 10. Where name is equal to Abdul. So what is the difference? Any guess? So same thing is happening with your PHP, Python. So here it is mandatory. I want to specify the data type, int number, character. But here everything is where or let. How it is identifying the respective type? Because of, one second. Because of the term called as statically typed language, dynamically typed language. How are these variable declaration different from other programming language? How JavaScript differs with other language like C, C++, Java? One second. Let's assume where n is equal to 10. Where mark is equal to 78.88. Where name is equal to Abdul. Type of is a built-in function which will return the type, data type of the variable data which you are holding. So listen, I have n, m, mark and name, or let it be number. So number, mark and name. All the variables are declared with where keyword. I used type of. Anything you have noticed on the console screen?
Yeah,
Number same.
So we can come to a conclusion. There is no specific integer or float or double type. Everything will be considered as a number. And the last one, which is enclosed within double quotes, considered as a string. Let me try for character. Either it can be single quotes or double quotes. One character or collection of character. It is considering as what? String and number.
String.
Do I specify anything number, string? No. At the time of execution, when it is running, at the time of runtime execution, my script engine will automatically taking the type which is falls under the category dynamically typed language. I don't want to specify what type of data. My runtime engine will automatically take the respective type of data type, which I'm going to enter, is called as dynamically typed language. So language which is statically is variable type is known by compiler. At the time of compile time itself in Java, I come to know that what is a data type. But here at runtime only, we will come to know what was its type. So left hand side, programmers must specify what data type of variable. So here programmers will not write what type of data. Programmer can write little quicker because we don't want to specify the type every time. My machine itself will understand what type of data. So here the advantage is compiler will check for compile time error. If there are any errors are there, it will caught at very earlier stage. But here most scripting language have this feature. There is no compiler. So more chances are there for runtime error. The best example is C, C++, Java, Go, Scala, star languages, programming statically typed language. Very good example for this dynamic type is Python, PHP, JavaScript, Perl, Ruby. Is that clear? Dynamic. At the time of runtime, my interpreter, my engine will take the respective type. Here we want to specify.
Ma'am, can you show that where versus let?
Huh?
Ma'am, where
I'm coming.
and let.
I'm coming.
Okay.
Okay. So this part is clear, statically typed and dynamically typed. Then we will discuss on difference. Do I want to specify data type? No. You need to specify where, which indicates variable. My machine will automatically type what type of data. I will show you the list of data types supported by JavaScript. And what else? Yeah. So in JavaScript, you can declare a variable by using where keyword or let keyword. The difference between where and let is where is something a global variable, let is local variable. So the difference is in front of you. Interpret the code. So here I have where. Here I have declared with where. Left hand side is example for where keyword example. So what is this curly braces? So please interpret the code. I'm sure you can interpret and you can come to a conclusion. I told the word global variable and local variable, so you can relate. Please interpret.
Let is local variable because it gives error if we are calling it outside.
Yes, enter. Go through the code.
Compiler error is occurring in let go keyword.
So few things you need to observe. One important thing is this block of code. Have you observed this curly braces? What is curly? Which indicates a block of code. So where, if I declared a variable inside the block of code, if I try to access outside, you can able to access. So whereas if you declare a variable using let, inside curly braces, you cannot access that outside. Simply, I can say the difference is scope. So if I declared where without block, the scope remains there. Whereas let, scope is within the enclosing block. Curly braces indicates block scope. Someone called me. So where is having this global with or without, the scope rule is not applicable, even though it is declaration inside the block scope. Even though it is declared inside a block, this curly braces, it can access outside. So even they can access when it is in enclosing scope before they are declared. Whereas let, if it is inside the block, it will throw reference error. Take a snap of this and try. Not now, I'll give you time after 5-10 minutes, but I will not try this. You check this with and without. Only one code you type, you modify where with let and check whether you are getting error for let and no error for where. Take a snap, you can try. There are two limitations on variable names in JavaScript. So in JavaScript, the rule remains same. So please use a meaningful variable name. Letters, digits, symbols, dollar and underscore alone. So like Java, it accepts only two special characters, which is dollar and underscore. The first character must not be digit. It always should be letters or underscore or dollar. So we have three ways of declaring a variable. Guys, one is let, the other one is where, the third way is const. To declare a constant, you need to use const keyword instead of let. Const birthday is equal to some date. If you try to change the value of my birthday, it will throw an error. Is that clear? Variables can be declared with where, let and constant. Let is scope specific, where is not at all scope specific. And const is used to declare a constant. Guys, are you there?
Ma'am, this constant is act like a super keyword,
No, it is act like a final keyword.
right? Final keyword.
Which is fixed. Yeah. So different data types in JavaScript. So we don't have int, float, double. Requesting all of you to pay attention. Please look into the first column. String. The speciality is both single quotes and double quotes. So even if it is one character or group of character, I can use single quotes. So single quotes, double quotes, everything is string. Both integer and floating is numbers. So more than that integer scope, the big notation. So the integer with some 10-15 digits. You can use it under big int. Here it is true, false. Small letter true, word false represents Boolean. I declared the variable, but I not initialized with value. Then it falls under the type undefined because I cannot come to a conclusion whether it holds numbers or string. A data type whose variable is not initialized comes under undefined. I have defined but no value is assigned, which is undefined. But if I initialized with null, it represents null type. In my application, I want to make certain values as unique, some not changed value. Memory should not change, it remains. In such case, we will use symbol. See here, let value is equal to symbol of hello. So hello is represented as something which is fixed, equivalent to constant. We will discuss in later part. And the last category is collection of data in the form of key value pair. You can use curly braces. Let student is equal to curly braces. You can give key value pair. So I can give student ID colon 101 comma student name colon Adesh. Object will be represented using curly braces, but each value will be separated with colon. So in JavaScript, we can use single quotes, double quotes for both representing character and string. Even collection of string, you can use single quotes. And type of is a built-in method which is used to indicate what type of data. I'm sure the first block and second block is familiar to you. You can use plus operator, first name plus last name to do concatenation. Apart from that, we have something called as backticks. We will use this. It is not single quotes. Guys, are you with me? I am in the third block.
Yes, ma'am.
In
Yes, ma'am.
JavaScript, you can use variable name to read the content of variable. Point number one, regular way. Apart from that, in JavaScript, you can use dollar, curly braces, and you can use backtick to represent a value. So in order to represent a value in a variable, I can use simple variable name. Also, I can use this backtick and dollar curly braces. And if you take the last expression, so by inside backtick, dollar curly braces first name, dollar curly braces last name, nothing but it will do concatenation. So if I want to make an expression inside a string, I can use this. If you are familiar, you can use, or simply you use variable name. There is no special meaning for that. Same output, John and Deo, you will get with concatenation. So I can use an integer number, floating point number, everything. So even if you use exponential, so all numbers are falls under the category number type. These are all common. See, please look into. So this is a string, double quote string, and if it is a number string. If you try to use plus, and if you try to concatenate, it will be considered as a concatenation, not addition. So 3 plus John age will give you 333, not 36. If I want to convert a string to integer, JavaScript provides a conversion function called as parseInt. So John age, which is 33, an integer number, plus 3 is considered as a string because it is enclosed within double quotes. So string can be converted to an integer with the help of conversion function called as parseInt. So wait. So I want all of you to take a snap of this. Please take a snap. Difference between where and let, I will also share. And where let const followed with, I want all of you to try concatenation using plus as well as this backtick with dollar and this curly braces variable or an expression. And parseInt conversion, you can try addition of two numbers with string, without string. So Boolean, not 0, 1, similar to Java, true and false will be considered as a keyword to represent Boolean type. So where message is equal to true, where message 1. So Boolean is acceptable type in JavaScript. If you have declared not initialized, it will considered as undefined. So let me display all the value in message 1, 2, and the data type of all the 3 message. So message holding true, message 1 is undefined and it is holding null type. Please look into the type. True falls under Boolean, undefined comes under undefined type, whereas null comes under the category object type. And this is not new to us. String value null, array null, object null. So all those are holding null. So null comes under the category object type. Okay, I will not touch object as of now. So I'm giving you 15 minutes time. For practice, you can have one demo. So you open one HTML. There should be skeleton of HTML inside body. You have script tag. You start with alert and you try all the variables. So variables let var const followed with data type, handling values and type of method. And I want you to try addition of 2 numbers. Additionally, you know this alert box. Likewise, we have something called as prompt box. Try what is prompt, and here I want you to do addition of those 2 prompts. I'll show you. Alert, welcome all. Listen. Name, okay. Message 5 is equal to, this is one prompt. Here you can display message, enter name.
হ্যালো দাদা করছি মানে ওটাই অ্যাড্রেস ওটাই করছিলাম
Sudeep, you are on mute. Are you with me, guys? Alert is just a dialog box which will display the message, whereas a prompt is an input box. So when I display prompt, it will display the message, along with it shows an option to capture an input from the user. Whatever the input I'm capturing, I can store it in a left side variable. Can you see? Initially, I got alert box. Guys, this is my alert box, whereas this is my prompt, which is also called as input box. So let's assume if I place Jayashree. Sorry. So it will display welcome Jayashree. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes. I'm giving you quick time of 10-15 minutes. Try this. And I have tried concatenation. I want you to try addition. In order to do addition of those 2 prompt boxes, you need to do type conversion. Yeah, %. Do it. I'm sure you can all do within 5-10 minutes. Yes, Saurav, message me.